What is up, everybody? Welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie livestream. I want to thank all of you hanging out here with me who are still rocking with me, even at the later hour today. But we still got it in episode 246 and we're kicking it off. So, as always, thank you for hanging out here with me. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, MCJ, where I always remind you to upgrade your skills before your gear. Now, if it's your first time here, please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie Crew welcome and might even see your comment come up on screen here with on the live stream. So as tradition goes around here, first thing we always do is to go check out to see who are the first junkies hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. But as I was mentioning, let's go to the next screen where we could show Parker Jennings. There we go. He's saying hello to everyone. We also got Gretchen in the house saying hi to me, to the crew. We got Randy in the house saying hello, everyone. And Nano is also here saying hello there. How you doing, brother? Well, as I was saying, thank you for still rocking out here with me because of the simple fact that sometimes life gets in the way and family always comes first. So my father was in the hospital from earlier this week that we had to go take him back, or I had to go take him back, and today he was discharged, so I had to go pick him up. And then I had a bit of a situation there, so I literally with exactly 9:56 was walking through the door here, and I just came on to set the live stream to give myself a half an hour to set him up, to set Aiden up, to try to get something to eat, and then be live. So that's where I say sorry that I wasn't here at 10 like usual, but we still get it in to keep the streak going. Episode 246, and we're gonna continue to rock out. Nano says, I know it's been a while since I caught the last stream. Well, you know, I'm always happy when people are able to make it because, like I said, you can be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. So thank you. And you make this my favorite place to hang out. You can see. They changed my name. Lut. L-U-T Marrero. Okay. But regardless, we got that. I was walking around like a lut. I guess they knew I was a photographer, but I digress. Guys, today, because of this last minute thing and everything, I really didn't have much planned. But what I do want to get into is, well, I actually want to continue setting up this set. So right now you're watching me through the A7C Mark II, and I was able to put the Ulanzi fan on the back, so I shouldn't have the mishap that I had last week of it overheating. But right now it's plugged in via USB-C, and I have the 24 to 50 G lens on it, the f2.8, and that's what is giving you the image right now. So that's what you're looking at. But I do want to set up the 60 the HD 60, so to speak. I want to set up my A7R2 through the cam link, but at 1080 60. And I also want to run a stream at 1080 60 to see how, like, what are the differences. Like, I love 4K. I think it looks amazing and I can tell the difference, but a lot of people are watching or consuming content through their phones and it doesn't make a difference. But maybe the higher output as far as frame rate, right, the 60 frames per second, and also when I take that camera and I put it into the full frame mode, or the 1080 60, it goes full frame instead of the crop that it usually rocks when I'm using it in 4K. So I'm gonna try to see if a 1080 full frame, right, at 60 frames per second will actually be, you know, equivalent to a 4K image, especially if you're watching it on a phone. So we'll see. But I'm exhausted. I'm just realizing that. Exactly. The lookup table, right? I was like, of all things. And the funny thing is, you know, like when you check into the hospital, you give them your ID, so they have my ID. So how did they read Lut from Luis? But not worried about it. See, Randy says, I really do not see a difference between the 4K and 1080 60. See, I want to mess around with that, but let's see if I can find the box. The first box that I need to find is the one with my cam links in it, to see if I could just plug it in, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm semi organized, so let's see. I think this is the box. Okay, we're getting close. And this, yeah, I thought this was it. Oh, it is. All right, boom. All right. Let's drop that there. Right here, we have my two Camlink 4Ks with their connections and two empty USB-A slots on the back of my PC. All right. The next thing that I would need, yeah, because we're just setting up the studio here. Mystery box bingo. Oh, you don't even know. I was just so satisfied because I had my desk full of things that I was like halfway working on. And as the show was getting started, I was like, you know what? I've been unpacking so many boxes that I just took one of the empty bankers boxes and I just dumped everything there. I just created one of those Doom boxes that I had mentioned from before. Just Doom box number 1 from this apartment sitting off to my right. That was good. Okay. So we need an HDMI cable, but more importantly, we need to find the power to that camera. I've unpacked and unloaded so many boxes. Something I did here, FYI, is as I was loading everything into the kitchen and taking things out of the boxes and putting them into the cupboards, I had all the cupboards open. And the way my mind works is like out of sight, out of mind. So I took it upon myself to remove all the doors and covers from the cupboards here in the apartment, and I neatly put them away, and they're now stored away into the closet so that it's an open concept in my kitchen as well. Everything's open and everything's front facing, similar to like a supermarket, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But if I'm able to see it when I walk in there, I'll be able to utilize those things. And that's just me working towards my strengths, you know, on my undiagnosed ADHD. But those are things that help me out. Another one that helps me out, and I was sharing it with my niece the other day, is put it away, don't put it down. And I've mentioned it here before, but put it away, don't put it down, because you have a spot for it, and then when you go to use it, it's not in that spot because you put it down somewhere else, when instead of putting it down, you should have put it in a spot. So put it away, put it in its spot, and don't put it down while like next to what you're working, because you're only doing yourself a disservice. Okay, box number 2 does not have what we need. Okay, cables, that bag of cables wasn't it. Let's do a bit of rummaging. I'm gonna bring my chair as a stand. All right. Let's see what we got in here. Nope. This is more camera things. but not the cable connections. Cuff. Highly recommend these Peak Design cuffs. Love them. Okay. Oops. Oh, another thing is I bought a stand for my 3D printers. So where you see this 3D printer right here hanging out in the back, right there I'm gonna have a 3-tier like stand specifically. So the way that I'm thinking about it is the way you have, you know, beer breweries and then you have microbreweries, you can have 3D print farms, and I'm gonna have a micro 3D print farm with my 3 printers right there just going off. Another box full of 3D printed items. Hi, Aiden. Oh, Aiden's upset. That was the coolest thing. Aiden just is coming to the show now for the first time, all the way from his own room. Come here, buddy. He's upset right now because his iPad battery just died. Come here. Oh, come on, Aiden. Everybody wants to say hi. Look at him. He's upset. He's upset. And I figured out the reason why he's upset when the iPad dies. And I'm going to explain the logic here so that you can understand why he gets upset. The iPad is the only thing that I don't replace batteries for. So all of his other toys, as soon as they die, Poppy, it's okay. No, come on. Oh, he's breaking my heart. So all of his toys, all of his other toys run off of like Duracell, like AAA or AA batteries. So as soon as the batteries go out, he hands it to me. I take a screwdriver, grab a couple of new batteries, and he's back up and running. The iPad is the only thing. Oh, the iPad is the only thing that once it dies, it needs charging, and he doesn't get it back right away. So look at him. Come on. I'm gonna go take him back to his room, and I will be right back. Come on. You saw him giving me all those alligator tears. He's breaking my heart over an iPad. All right, let's check to see what you guys are saying. Gretchen says mystery box bingo. Hold up. Sorry about that. I heard a big bang. Let me make sure it's not my dad. This is my life now. Oh goodness. Ah. So Nano was saying that's the main reason why I started naming my boxes, because I was always looking for things without knowing. Yeah, but my thing is, my ADHD is that I create what I realize is these doom boxes where I have a lot of these projects and then they all end up in a box. And I know that I have all of these things, but now they live together, mixed like a junk drawer, right? But they're these constantly evolving doom boxes, because that could be the one that I made for today. And then tomorrow I can start a whole new set of processes right here on my desk. And at the end of the day, if I don't finish them off, I'll end up throwing them in a whole nother box. And that's another box that's just stacked on top of the other. I've already done that. Not looking to do that anymore. It's like you're playing the memory game of it's flipping cards and then remembering where the match is. Mookie's in the house saying hello to everyone. Jeremy as well saying hi to me and to the MCJ gang. And everybody was saying hi to Aiden. Oh, thank you, thank you. All right. So let's go back. And Nano, just so you can see, some of them were labeled, but at the same time we're already like in the second week, so a lot of these boxes have been reused. See, like this one. Okay. There's boxes back there too. Okay, you know what? You go for it. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that as well. I was thinking there's some boxes here that are holding up this 3D printer, but I just bought a shelf as well, which I'm probably gonna start building as soon as the stream is over. So I'm gonna already start hitting up that set of boxes by start taking off the 3D printer and get things rolling. FYI, the craziest thing is that I still have things in my previous apartment. I still have like my mini fridge. What else? Like, oh yeah, like all the kitchen appliances, like my toaster oven. I brought my air fryer, but like all the other things, like my little toaster ovens, my rice cookers, all those little appliances that I have, those are all still at my previous apartment. So those are still, it's probably tomorrow's task of going over there and doing like the last final runs. So I would say this week I should be finishing that up. All right. I'm sweating up in here. Okay. a box of cables. Okay, we have HDMI here, but we need power. Oh, the photography cable. Okay. You can see I got a bit off track thinking about cables, and then forgot that I'm looking for the photography cables. One last thing. Oh, paywall's in the house. This is my whole life feels like a boombox. Says air fryer, rice cooker. Now you speaking my language. Yeah, man, I like to cook. I like to cook my own food, but I have been taking advantage of the Uber Eats. Yep. It saved me a lot of time, and if I utilize it correctly, it ends up costing me monthly the same if I were to go grocery shopping. Plus, I have a much emptier fridge, and I could tell you I'm saving at least 2 to 3 hours a day when it comes to cooking, eating, and then cleanup. So for the bachelor lifestyle, as of right now, it tends to being like a pretty good deal for me. So, all right, I'm gonna check one last box over here. Okay, so that was a fail. Couldn't power up the camera. I have the cam links. I have HDMI cable. I have the whole camera prepped up. The only thing that I can't find right now is my dummy battery for that. So then I was like, you know what? We're just trying to use it for a live stream, right? Like, let's try to get 20, 30 minutes out of it. Let me find a battery. So I went to the box that was marked photography with the photography things, and I can't find the NPFW50 batteries. I think I got it. Sure. That's nice. Damn you, Nikon! Uh, isn't that the way everything goes? You can never find what you need when you need it. Found the BX batteries, Nikon Insta360 battery. Another Nikon battery. The hot mess stream. Yep, that camera does not want to participate. You know, the powers are not aligning to get this guy up and running. You know what? I'm gonna move on from the physical stuff. We have some more time here. Hold on, hold on. Let me see what it says. Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay, Gretchen says appliances. What are those? I'll have to ask Bob. Lucky you. Says gonna have to teach you how to convert that mini fridge into a kegerator so you can dispense carbonated beverages and send some serious money. That sounds cool. Save, he said. Said can't type send. Save. Says usually leave an item in the original place and then something interrupts you placing it back and you have no idea where it is now. Bro, that right there, this comment right here is my life encapsulated the way K-Wall was talking about that earlier, because my goodness, I can't even begin to tell you, like, it's distractions and it's always something else, like, oh, and now that needs to be taken care of. So, you know, I'm a person, I guess my mind works like, you know, all hands on deck. You know, like when the shipmates need help and it's like, stop what you're doing, all hands on deck. And that's kind of how my mind works for like just basically any problem. The problem that I see in front of me, I'm going to start tackling it right away. And that usually leads to me forgetting what was the reason why I walked into that room in the first place. Right? That was it. That was that comment right there. And yeah, it's just scrolling. It's just one thing distracting you. And as you go, the other things, and a lot of times it's things that I can't unsee, which is where the problem lies. You know, I haven't been officially diagnosed. I think Doc officially has been diagnosed with ADHD. I think he went and got examined. Like, I already know, like, they would probably, like, I would fall into that category if I were to go get examined. But I'm not trying to, I guess, look for the medical remedies. I'm just trying to find, you know, the best way to put my mind in a position to win. So that's what I do. But talking about that, like I said, let's just move on. There was something that just snuck up on me this week. I saw and heard a little bit more about it on Brandon Washington's show Uncensored yesterday, right? Today, Saturday, Friday. Yep, yesterday. That Canon is rumored to be coming out with a new C camera that is going to be a cinema based and FX30 styled, right? So I'm guessing a built-in fan and a small mirrorless, you know, like rangefinder style without a viewfinder camera. And they're saying that this is the one to dethrone the FX3. It's very interesting, but I'm here for it. It is not a full frame camera, so I don't think it will really be knocking off the FX3. But because that's the one that came out with the body style, I think is why the title of the article was named that way. But It is an APS-C. I see it more as a competitor or maybe something a little bit better than the FX30, but we'll have to see how it works once we get it into the hands. Because one thing that Canon is still dealing with a bit, which is something of the like growing pains that Sony went through when they first came out with mirrorless. Because I don't know if you guys remember, it wasn't that long ago. It was just, you can say, about 10 to 12 years ago. You say like 2013 to 2015, where Sony was coming out with these mirrorless bodies and cameras, and they were getting, crapped on, so to speak. They were getting shitted on left and right, and they were talking about the battery doesn't last, so on and so forth. And a lot of the things that, Sony got criticized for was the overheating of the cameras and then them not being usable. They went through those growing pains, and now they have their system where rarely you'd get an overheating issue unless some particular models on the full frame size. Like I had an overheating last week with the A7C, but now with a small fan, that's mitigated. But if you have a dedicated cinema camera like the FX3 or the FX30 that the fan's built on, man, those things just rock solid. They give no issues. So let's see exactly what's going to happen, because I forgot the name of the camera, but they came out with a vlogger style camera earlier this year, which was supposed to be kind of like the successor to the ZV-E1, right? Not the ZV-E1, I'm sorry. The ZV-1 and the 1Fs and the ZV-1 Mark IIs, right? But the small compact camera vlogging style, not the full frame. And excuse me. So that one had a built-in fan in as well, which the ZV line never had. And it's supposed to outlast, but from what I heard, it still had some issues with overheating in certain scenarios. So we'll be playing it by ear. Let's see exactly what this new camera from Canon comes out. But if it is as good and as they say it is, and it were to dethrone all of the FX series cameras, so on and so forth, which, there might be some bias, but I doubt, right? That only means that Sony is up, right, to do the next hopscotch, because that's always how they're playing, or I guess leapfrog, right, where they're leapfrogging the technology. And the FX line is a pretty good camera. It's not like if you were to buy it today, it's obsolete, right? Obsolete, excuse me, obsolete. Even though it's a 5-year-old camera, but I did reference that it looked like it took, Canon 5 years to actually succeed the FX3 or the FX30. And we'll see, because it's still just a rumored camera and it still hasn't been made official, let alone anyone tested or anything like that. So this is just all speculation. But in the sense that I always say, when another camera company comes out with a new technology or something that's gonna better the content creation space, is just a matter of time until the company that you're with, right, the ecosystem that you're in, will then catch up. It took Canon a while, but it looks like right now that there might be topping off, especially with the way that they handled 2024. But we'll see, because there's still, I believe, some things down the pike for Sony as well, and that's just me being a fanboy. So let's see what you guys are saying. Plenty of herbal remedies for ADHD. How does that say? You know. There we go. Sticky notes on the forehead helps to remind me what I'm supposed to do. Man, let's not even get into sticky notes, because I tried. I'm gonna be honest. I tried to use sticky notes, but sticky notes. What's the best way I could put it? Okay. Sticky notes are not good reminders for me. What sticky notes allow me to do is to memorize what it is that I need to do. Okay, so for example, I have a way that if I write something down for whatever reason, because I wrote it down, it's like setting it in stone. It is like chiseling it onto a scribe or something like that. It's just what it is. So I used to do that a lot with my like stand-up comedy, like when I used to go out to the open mic nights, right? Just to give you a little glimpse of what I used to do. So whenever I wanted to hit up an open mic night, and that was usually Wednesdays, I would take the day off from work. So I would take the entire day off, and then I would wake up and I would have a bunch, and I mean a bunch of different jokes that I had written just throughout the workday. And it was a system that my friend Chris had taught me. Like while we were at work, whenever you come up with a funny joke, don't just let it go off into the ether. Write it down and put it in your pocket, save it for later. That eventually turned into just the notes on my phone. So my day off, I would open up my notes app, I would get all of those notes, and I would just start writing down all of these jokes, kind of like Lego pieces, right? And I was just putting them together to make a coherent story. And now, and I'm telling you, this is all done the same day. Now that I have a coherent story and my jokes are built in, because I'm just using them as like building blocks, right? To just get to the end game. I would write it down as one comedy skit, and then I would be able to just start rehearsing that into like the mirror, because I for whatever reason, I guess the origination of the thought, writing it down and then putting it into that method, it would just lock in stone, and I would be able to go up on stage that same night and do that entire set off of my dome, right off of the head, just memorizing it, how I said it. And the times that I was able to do it, I never put one joke in front of the other, and I never said something of a joke and be like, oh, I forgot I was supposed to tell you this, because that's like the number one way to kill a joke. Oh, wait, I was supposed to tell you this because you weren't supposed to know he was skinny, right? Like you do any of that in a joke, and the joke is dead. It's over. It's like you might be able to tell it to your friend, but if you're doing this on stage, it's a wrap. That's like just done. So that's just something that's always worked for me. And like I said, the times that I was able to do it, I was able to just write these things down and then able to regurgitate them on stage. And that's, I could honestly tell you, that's an adrenaline rush all on its own. Absolutely love it. But I'm also very grateful that I did not pursue that as like a full-time career, because so many things would have been different. And even though life is tough, like you said, I just got here from the hospital, and I'm caretaker to two people who are depending on me, 3 generations of Vega, and I'm the only one who's walking right now. It's not easy, but I know that if I would have pursued that career, my life would have just been totally different, and I don't think I would have been as fulfilled. I would say I don't think that I would be as fulfilled as I am today doing what I love with cameras and photography and everything like that, because even when I was doing that in comedy, it was an aspect that I was enjoying of comedy, right? To be able to sit in the back and watch all the other performers go up on stage, learn from the craft, but at the same time have my camera with photography and videography, and being able to like record myself on stage for the first time and put that on YouTube, right? Like that was just super cool experience. And I wish that experience on anyone who's willing and wanting to do it. But at the same time, I'm very happy that I did not pursue comedy in like full time. I'm much more fulfilled with what I'm doing now, so I'm very grateful. That's it. I still follow comedy. I'm a huge fan, right? And I know that if I were to do anything in the future, it will still most likely be behind the scenes. It will be recording other comedians, doing productions and things like that, because that's where I'm having the most fun and the most fulfillment. All right, so Ernesto, my favorite tech, is in the house saying hello. Gretchen saying, but Randall, you have to remember the sticky notes are in the mirror on your desk. Oh, and you know what? Talking about the sticky notes, because that's how it started. What ends up happening with me with sticky notes is that I just use them as like the way to write things down right away so that I can lock them into that like eternal memory. So if I thought of something, right, I would like write it down and it's locked in. Like, for example, earlier today, I was doing laundry and I was moving back and forth here at the new apartment. And when I brought in my laundry and I was folding it, I found a rogue sock, right? A sock that came into my home but wasn't from my home. Like, this does not belong to anyone here. So I know it came in and it snuck in through the dryer, right? Like, it must have been in the dryer and now it came in with my clothes. So I set it off to the side, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put it back on the table over here in the laundry room as like a lost and found, right? Like, I lost it, I found it, I'm putting it there, and then it was a sock, so I called it a sock and found. And now I'm thinking I'm gonna 3D print a little like label that says socks and found, right? And then put that on a box and throw the sock in the box and leave it in the laundry room as like a community idea for all the, lost and found socks that get left behind in dryer events for the future. So it's stupid, but as soon as I thought of socks and found, I had to write it down, and that's the only reason why I'm even able to remember the entirety of the story to tell you guys right now. Because if I wouldn't have written it down on that post-it note, I wouldn't. That would have been lost to the ether. So for that, like I said, right now I don't even need to find the post-it note, and all I needed to do was have the action to get the pencil and write it down. And once I had it, doesn't really matter where I stuck it because it's already locked into the mind. And what I end up having is just like a stack of used post-it notes that I know I'm never going to go through because the ideas are already locked in, but I don't need to go back through them to like check them off of the list. And that's my way, that's my workaround with post-it notes. It says, I didn't know you were a part of the stand-up tribe. Oh, you didn't know that, K-Wall? I thought like that's how, like, K-Wall comedy, and I told you I absolutely loved comedy, and stand up is my favorite. I go way back, like from the Richard Pryors and back in the day Cosby, and I'll say because one of his stand-ups is just like the funniest stand-up. Like his set on dentistry is so iconic that no other comic could literally touch an experience of going to the dentist because Bill already did it so well. So, yeah, Paul, no, Steve Martin's, someone that impacted me. His better. Let me say that correctly. Someone's passing that impacted me a lot more than what I ever thought it could was Robin Williams. Because Robin Williams was someone that I always felt that I was supposed to meet and at least shake his hand. And once I was sitting at home and I found out that what had happened, I was literally like knowing that this person has never met me. It's a completely, like what's it called? The social thing, that is just this weird I forgot the word. I words right now, Saturday night after a week like this. My apologies. But the fact that this he never knew of me and it was just something that I wanted to do, and now I knew that I didn't have the ability to do that anymore because he was no longer with us, really impacted me. And I was like heartbroken. I was just like it was something that I wanted to do that now was like could never happen. There was always the I can't wait for the day, right? And that was taken away from me. And yeah, I share that with you guys now as I still feel slighted. And I wish his family the best, but very disappointed that I wasn't able to do that and cross that off of my bucket list. Um, and I'll just leave that there because there's a lot of thoughts that I have about that, because one way or another, I felt like I was supposed to meet this man. It was just one of my favorite comedians, especially growing up. And then, hands down, my favorite comedian because I feel like I relate to him the most. And a lot of the jokes that he says are jokes that I thought of, like, you know, on the everyday, day to day. And not to that extent, but like, because this person is a comedical genius, right? But there's a lot of topics, right, where the topics are very similar of what we'd be talking about, and that is Mr. Dave Chappelle. Like his form of comedy, his jokes, his cadence, his delivery, hilarious. Like I feel second to none because of the simple fact that that's what I did in my comedy, where I would be able to tell a story and the jokes were woven in, and you're left with more than just jokes. You're left with an experience. And I've talked about it before, but I'll talk about it a little bit more. Yeah, Carlin, of course, Lenny Bruce, and then Red. Come on. So but I'm talking about, like, I used to watch The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason, like with my father when I was a child. They go, boom, zoom to the moon, Alice. Like, these are things that I grew up with when it came to comedy, and my family and family reunions. That's a whole nother, like, that's a hysterical event. But going back to it, there's very famous comedians, and I take nothing away from them. But to give you an example, Dangerfield, right? Dangerfield is hilarious, but there were just a bunch of one-liners, right? And they were funny, but they're very forgettable, right? Which is good for a comedian, especially the way comedy was back in the day, because of the simple fact that you would want to be able to sell the show again. Okay, another one which is probably also he's got the infamous, the number one longest running, like, standing stand-up hour on HBO ever, which is Stephen Wright. And Stephen Wright has an entire hour, like an entire hour of one-liner jokes, right? And one-liner after one-liner after one-liner, and they're very, very funny, right? But they're so funny and they're so, like, off the wall, where there's nothing that, like, glues them together, that you forget the joke that you started laughing at the beginning by the time you get to the end. And that was Stephen Wright. And like I said, that's great for replayability, right? Because you can watch it again and it's like almost, there's so many jokes that you couldn't remember which is the next one coming. But you left the way that you came in. Then comedy started shifting where it was more storytelling, right? And that's where I say, like, I think Chappelle has mastered that to the T, where he can get you to believe and laugh at things that are completely off the wall. You know they're completely fake, but yet at the same time you can't help but laugh because he's got you in the theater of the mind, and he's got complete control, and right there, he can paint whatever picture he wants. And that's where I think Chappelle excels, right? Carlin, I actually love George Carlin, amazing comedian. One of the jokes that he says that always stuck with me, which was just explaining what comedy was. He's like, I'm a comedian. My job is to remind you to laugh at things that you forgot to laugh at the first time you saw them. And I'm like, that is such a perfect way of explaining that, right? Which is, I'm here to remind you to laugh at things that you forgot to laugh at the first time that you saw them, which is, I'm going to explain to you the things about everyday life that you find most mundane and just completely go over your head, but I'm going to tell you to look at it from this angle and you're going to crack up laughing. and that's a comedian. One of my favorite jokes of his was, oh, the I'm not gonna repeat it because of the language in the joke. But if you have time, I would tell you to look up George Carlin's Rice Krispies joke. The joke about him eating the Rice Krispies cereal. Hey, you can't even. It was an amazing time. It was an amazing time, man. So many amazing comedians. Like K-Wall, we can talk about this for hours, but hey, look, it went full circle. But guys, I also wish I could tell you that I had a cities golf for you, but I don't because of the simple fact that I got here last minute. Last minute, and I didn't have time. But you know what? Let me see. We're talking about comedy. I don't think I have any comedy like YouTube channels that I would follow. You know what? Let me see something. There's got to be some. Oh no, I just put comedy in YouTube, and I've got all the comedians like that I could watch, like all the stand-ups. Excuse me. Oh man, you see the yawning? Yep. Oh, yeah. I can go through this list and be like, oh my god, like one, Bernie Mac. You gotta give props to the Mac, the milk and cookies. But yeah, so many, and all different races and ethnicities. Uh, man, I used to watch BET. Was it Comic View with Arnez J? Man, those are some funny ass times, man. But hey, I don't know. Like, there was a comedy. Let me see under subscriptions. Let me search comedy. No, it still comes up there. Subscriptions. No, I got nothing here. But we'll leave it at that, guys. We did it somehow. Randy's already here telling everyone to have a great week and to take care, which is exactly what I would tell you guys. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for spending it here and rocking out with me, guys. You guys are the best. You guys make this my favorite place to be. And um, yeah, I just want to thank you guys as always. Life is tough. It's been extremely tough. The situation that I've placed myself in here with my father to help him out and everything like that has been all consuming. Is been able It's hard to been able to keep track of my own life, and now I have a completely different one that I'm in charge of. So pray for me because I'll be working things out. But I do feel that next week I should have things a lot better. It's like including my set here, and doing other things like actually finding my dummy battery for my camera. Uh, Apologies, so sorry. As you can see, I'm crashing right now, so I want to let you guys off on a good note. So thank you as always for making this my favorite place to be. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Mark your calendars, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday nights, right here on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. Sometimes it's 10:30 because there could be emergency life situations, but usually I'm pretty good to be here at 10, so you can mark it down there so that you don't forget it. And yep, that's where we'll leave it. Well, this was episode 146. No, there we go. That's the button. And yeah, 246. I'm getting all my numbers mixed up. Yes, you said it right. Hey, what's up, Kev? But Gretchen said it right. I need to get some rest. I am definitely on the empty when it comes to energies right now. But Kevin is saying hello to all. He says, "Glad I made it at the end of nothing else. Life has been lifing, brother." Watch the beginning of this, what explaining of what my week has been like. Uh, yeah, and that's not even getting into the details of the things. So I'll leave that there. But you see, it's all of you who make this my favorite place to be, and I can't thank you enough. It's like, yeah, I love you guys, and I love being here. And this was episode 246, and that's what is 246? That's 246 consecutive weeks, consecutive Saturdays of the Camera Junkie live stream without skipping a beat. And we did it again. We kept the streak going. So mark it down on your calendars. Subscribe, like, do all the YouTubery things so that you don't miss next week's episode 247 of the same Camera Junkie live stream. I should have some more things up. Oh, I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek. So you can see I got my IKEA pegboard and I put it there. I got my computer and everything down here. I have separate systems right now. So one cool thing that I'm seeing with the extra space that I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to compartmentalize, so I don't have to always work here, and I'm going to leave this as like the live stream station, right? So everything that's gonna be here is all gonna be about the production and the eCam side, and everything having to do with 3D printing and all the like little tinkering and soldering, all that stuff is gonna be done over there, so that I could avoid making more doom boxes. See? I can just leave everything on the table over there and then just turn on the cameras over here and go live, and then we're good to go, and I don't have to worry about cleaning up this area because this is going to just stay clean. And that's the plan. But this is where I'm planning to put on some more lights and some more things. I have my cameras and my lenses. Plus, I'll be able to print out anything that I want. And the best part is that I have two of those big pegboards, like the Scottish boards on the back, but I bought four in total. So I have one here to my left, which is like gonna hold a lot of my, like utilities here. So I had mentioned before, we're running off of a wireless internet right now, T-Mobile, and I actually have it mounted here on the SCADAS board to my left, so that it's off the ground and up high and closest to the window to get the best signal. Yep, this is running off of a 5G wireless internet. It's incredible, but I'm getting decent enough speeds that it hasn't been affecting the workflow, which is very impressive, including the Flow podcast that we do every Tuesday, which is another thing. With lifing, brother, I need to finish up that podcast. I wanted to have it finished today. So if I do, I have another 26 minutes to do it. So with that, I'll leave you guys. Let me see what are the last little bits in here. It says, get some rest, caregiving your heart. We appreciate you. Appreciate all of you as well. Thank you, Mookie. He's telling me to have a great week, and to everyone. It says, stream looks good. I know you were worried about stream quality from Studio 2. Thank you, sir. And yeah, this is also full frame, so I'm thinking I might stick with the full frame. That's why I want to switch over that one to the 1080-60, because if I get 1080-60, but throwing that camera, and I'm just speaking on, is like, I think for the first time I'm gonna be able to use my favorite lens, my Zeiss 55mm, as part of the setup. So to throw that Zeiss, even if we're doing 1080-60, to get that nice, the colors, can't wait to do it. So I'm gonna have fun, and I have a lot of space. Like, I'm even thinking of running a long HDMI cable off over to my right, and just for the live streams have like a long telephoto, like side shot. Just make it special, make it crispy. But guys, like I said already before, but I will repeat again, you guys rock. You guys are the best. And I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces while we do it all over again next week, right here on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you next time. Talk to you. I got it right.